Who's actually going to get the most out of a quick lift pallet truck? And who should walk away before they even plug it into a cart? If you're the kind of buyer who wants a smooth ride on a busy loading dock without spending a small fortune, you'll probably be nodding along. But if you're a one-off user who only needs to move a single box once a month, the math changes fast. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I get it, buying a pallet truck feels a lot like stepping onto a moving walkway you've never ridden. The first question that pops up is whether the unit will actually lift the loads you encounter day to day, or if you'll end up wrestling with a piece of machinery that's either too flimsy or way over-engineered for your needs. The Wesco Quick Lift pallet truck sits in that sweet spot for many small to mid-size operations. But you have to look past the headline capacity rating and ask how the fork dimensions, lifting mechanism, and overall maneuverability play out in a real warehouse aisle. Let's start with the kind of environment where this truck shines. Picture a neighborhood grocery backroom, a boutique furniture shop that receives flat-pack tables, or a regional distribution center that handles standard Euro pallets on a daily basis. In those settings, the Wesco's fork width is wide enough to cradle a typical 48-inch pallet without the sides scraping the load. The fork length, while not as long as a full-size dock leveler, reaches far enough to support the bulk of a standard pallet stack, meaning you can lift a full pallet and still have a safe margin before the forks overrun the pallet's edge. For operators who need to get a pallet onto a low dock or into a narrow aisle, that combination of width and length translates into fewer adjustments and less time spent repositioning the load. Now, let's talk about the lifting action itself. The quick lift part isn't just marketing speak. The hydraulic lever requires a short, decisive pull to raise the forks from ground level to the maximum height. In practice, that means you can hook a pallet, raise it, and roll it onto a higher shelf in a single fluid motion. In my conversations with a few warehouse managers, they mentioned that the speed of lift reduces the handoff time between two workers, especially during peak receiving hours when every second counts. That efficiency gain is a real-world strength you don't see on the spec sheet. But there are trade-offs. The same hydraulic system that makes lifting fast also means the truck isn't as forgiving when you try to lower the load very slowly. A few reviewers on the retailer's site noted that the fork descends with a bit of a snap, which can be jarring if you're aligning a pallet under a shelf that's just a hair too low. It's not a safety issue, just something you learn to anticipate with a slight pause on the lever. If your workflow demands ultra-precise, incremental lowering, you might find that a manual pump truck gives you a tad more control. Another practical factor is the overall weight of the truck itself. Wesco designed this model to be sturdy enough for regular use, but it also means you have to invest a little more effort when you're moving it empty across a long distance. In a small shop where the truck rarely leaves a single aisle, that's negligible. In a sprawling 80,000 square foot warehouse where you might need to reposition the truck several times a day, you may notice the extra effort, especially if you're the only person handling it. Some buyers mitigate that by pairing the truck with a small electric cart to transport it between zones, but that adds cost and complexity. Speaking of cost, the Wesco Quick Lift lands in a price bracket that feels comfortable for most medium-scale operations. It's not the cheapest entry-level model on the market, but it also avoids the premium markup that comes with heavy-duty, industrial-grade trucks that boast capacities far beyond what a typical retailer needs. In plain terms, you're paying for a balance of durability and functionality without the unnecessary bells and whistles that sit idle in a small business setting. If you're budgeting for a fleet of 3 or 4 trucks, the Wesco's price point lets you equip the whole team without breaking the bank. Who should definitely consider adding this to their toolbox? If you run a shop that moves pallets multiple times a day, if your staff includes at least one person who's comfortable handling a hydraulic lever, and if your pallet sizes fall within the standard dimensions most North American warehouses use, this truck will likely pay for itself in the time saved on each lift. It's also a solid fit for seasonal pop-up stores that need a reliable way to shift inventory from delivery trucks to backroom shelving quickly. The capacity rating, combined with the fork geometry, means you won't be constantly worrying about overloading or needing to double-handle heavier loads. On the flip side, who might want to skip it? If you're a hobbyist who